Kicking off the stream if you want to send the link to everyone.
Okay, can you put the link in the chat so I can send it everywhere?
I'll just send it to you real quick. There you go.
Okay.
All right, we are there.
Hi.
Hi.
um.
So, last time on Neverland.
So, we met the part. You guys met each other. And we're trying, for what I read, the goal was to get back to the Lost Boys, most of you. We're trying to get back to the Lost Boys one way or another.
Yep.
And Rooster was so convinced he had met up with his other Lost Boys, but actually ran into his enemy, which is Captain Hook and Mr. Smee, and the fight broke down. And you captured Mr. Smee, but Captain Hook isn't down yet, and that's where we left off.
Sounds like a plan.
So, I'm going with you, Rooster, since we haven't. I forgot our initiative order.
Okay.
My fault. I'm going with you, and then I'm going with your I'm Clinade. And then we're going with Clinade, and then we're going with keep forgetting people's names, character names. Andy's character next. That's how we're doing things, because we left on you gonna do something to Captain Hook. So what are you gonna do? You see Captain Hook with something glowing in his chest.
Okay. So what I want to do is roll here. I want to roll sleight of hand and try to steal the thing glowing in his chest.
Okay. He'll do a perception check to see if
perception or sleight of hand. I'm trying to steal it.
No.
She's saying he'll roll sleight of hand.
Captain Hook is gonna do perception. You're gonna do sleight of hand.
Okay, yeah.
It's gonna be opposed.
Are you kidding me? Okay, I rolled a nat 1, but it plus 9 is a 10.
Okay. You don't know what's gonna happen, so give me a sec to roll. Okay. Yeah, no. He sees you.
Alright.
Absolutely sees you. And as a reaction, he kind of like slaps your hand away and says, "You sneaky little boy. You thought it was that easy, huh?"
So, it says here that I have cunning action. I can take a bonus action on each of my turns to take the dash, disengage, or hide action. So I wanted to do the disengage and jump back
Okay.
to try to break out of his grip.
Okay, so
I don't think a bonus action can be used to escape a grapple.
Okay.
Let me check. Let me double check. Cause again, this is my first time.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean D&D. So nope, you can't use a bonus action. Sadly, you can
Not a
only
problem.
use an action.
So I guess that's my turn.
Mm-hmm. Clanane. I'm gonna keep butchering your name, and I apologize.
It's just Kine. Basically, you don't pronounce the D at the end, and that's pretty much it. But I've got some interesting potential options here. So I don't want to fireball because Rooster is right there, and I'm not the kind of fairy that just kills humans and doesn't care. Likewise, burning hands won't really work. So instead, even though I no longer have advantage, I think I'm going to try for a Scorching Ray again.
Okay. At who? At Captain Hook?
At Captain Hook.
Okay.
And I will upcast it again, so it's 4 rays instead of only 3. So that's 4 attack rolls. Hey, let him go, you big skelly bastard.
Okay. What's your spell DC?
It's not a DC, this is a spell attack.
Okay.
So my results are 11, 24, 16, and 14.
First one misses. Second one hits. What was the third one?
16.
Hits. Fourth one?
14.
Misses. So hit, miss, hit, miss.
All right, so I deal 16 fire damage.
16 fire damage. Okay. Okay, he looks pretty hurt.
I should note that, like, for my party members, this literally just looks like a little tiny handsome human person shooting loads of fire from a little tiny wand. Like, this is nothing you've ever seen a fairy do before.
I love it.
Nice.
Okay. Andy. Wait, is that your turn, Kane?
Yes, Kine is staying up in the air.
Okay. Andy, your turn.
Andy, so Shmi has been captured, so Andy is going to move over to Shmi and using his longsword is going to point the tip right at the hollow of Shmi's throat and call over to Hook and say, hey, you take your hands off of that idiot before I give your heterosexual life partner here a new hole to breathe through.
Do me an intimidation check.
Okay, intimidation. Unfortunately, I don't have any any bonuses to this, but we'll just cross our fingers. And that's a 2.
So he just laughs and says, You don't even have the guts.
I use my sword to draw the point of my sword to draw some blood from Shmi's neck.
How much? How much deep do you go?
Not enough to kill, but enough that there is a fairly heavy trickle coming from the point of my sword.
Okay. So at this point I'm gonna have you roll with advantage.
Okay. Let's see. That was a 16, and what's the other one? I can't see the other one. It must have been lower than a 16 because it's not showing me the other one, so 16.
So you could see a little bit of shock in his face. And he says, Fine, have it your way. And he lets go of Rooster.
Alright.
I would say that takes your. You do that as your action, right? Because you're.
Yeah, that's my turn, basically.
Yeah. So we're back with Rooster. After being let go by Hook. What do you do?
After being let go by Hook, I don't learn my lesson, and I'm gonna try to jack that necklace real quick as I'm leaving.
Do me a sleight of hand, and I'll do a perception.
Alright.
Roll.
There you go, got a 24 this time.
So, he does not see you.
Alright.
Even though it's right in his chest. So he's too distracted by Andy drawing blood from his partner, and you grab the glowing thing in his chest. I'm going to have you roll to identify it.
Okay.
You know what this is. You heard stories.
History or insight, or what would you like me to roll?
Don't roll because you know this.
Okay.
You've seen this. You know this. It's very common, not very common in the island, but it's known that with stories and things. This is a shooting a falling star.
Oh.
These are very powerful in the island. I'm gonna need you to roll me a d20.
Alright.
Because you're holding it right now, right?
Yep.
Just a straight d20.
Alright. Trying to get her stupid dice. You found it last.
What? What did you get? I didn't hear that.
Kidding me? Where the heck is the? Oh, it's on the bottom left. There it is. All right, D20. Mother hell, I got a 1.
A 1. So, as soon as the star touches your hand, it burns you. But it hurts. It burns. Like, you're afraid if you keep holding it, you might not have another hand anymore. That's how
All right, well,
hot
I'll
it is.
drop it. And
As soon as you drop it, it disappears.
Oh, lovely. Well, at least Hook
Yeah.
doesn't have it.
Does it reappear on Hook?
No.
Okay.
After this fight, I'll give you a little bit more of information about the fallen star. But yeah. And you see Hook. He realized what you did. And you could see Hook melting a little bit.
I'm sorry, melting?
Melting.
Like Wicked Witch of the West style?
Yes. Melting a little bit. He says, "You always ruined everything."
I just kind of stick my tongue out of it and says, like, that's what you get for taking my hand, Hooky.
He tries to swing at you. So I'm gonna roll that with the last strength he has. Nope. He misses on that one. On that one. So the pure anger and anguish in his eyes as he tries to swing at you. But either is him melting as a person or something that he missed. His footing is wrong and he falls straight on his face, but instead of hitting the ground, his face hit his sword, like he sticks his sword into his own eye, kind of thing. And in the worst ways, Captain Hook is dead.
So
He's not alive. Well, he was dead, but now he's dead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Andy looks at the puddle, and then turns and looks at Shmi and says, I still have a sword pointed at your throat, so are you going to explain what the fuck that just was?
Kine just sort of crosses his arms as he watches you guys and says, "Boy, you Lost Boys sure are intense."
And he says, Captain had a fallen star. You should know what fallen star is. Or did good old Peter Pan of yours tonight explain it? Would you like me to roll me a history check
Me?
Okay.
right now? See if you recall if Peter Pan explained this to you. 19. So Peter Pan has.
Hang on, let me finish rolling so I can see if he explained it to me too. I got a 6, so
Okay.
I'm gonna say that Rooster knows, but I don't.
Okay. So Andy, you can't recall anything. So what do you do before I explain to Rooster what this is?
I'm just gonna be like, yeah, Pan told me about this a bit, so you know, I can't
I'm
much. So
just
tell me what's going on.
and Andy replies to Shmi. You think I actually get to hear anything trustworthy from Peter given how much bullshit he spews? He hasn't told me jack shit about falling stars.
Rooster, you know about fallen stars. That they only come one day every month.
Okay.
They are very rare to find. And only certain people with the right touch or the right intention, not the right intention, but the right touch are able to keep the star. Sadly, you didn't have that fate.
I didn't have the magic touch.
But they are known to grant wishes. They're known to grant power. So you have an idea of what Captain Hook wished for, or what power he was granted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're extremely rare to get and only fall one day every month. And randomly on the island is not like a certain place where they're found. So yeah.
Nice. So I'll explain all of that and be like, so yeah, we just keep an eye out for him. And lucky for me, as I'm kind of spitting on my burnt hand and rubbing dirt into it. Unlucky for me, it wasn't compatible, and I didn't even know. I thought it was like some glowing amulet or something of his. But hey, at least we got hooked down.
Kinnaid just kind of crosses his legs in midair and puts his hands behind his head and says, "Oh, I think he'll be back. You can never keep that fella down for very long. But I've never really seen the appeal to these fallen stars myself. I can just, you know." And he snaps his fingers, and 4 little glowing star-like orbs start floating around where he's relaxing in midair, and says, "I can just do this."
So at this time, I say it's when you guys woke up. It was pretty late. It was after 6. But now you could see the sun kind of rising. Like it's been a while. The fight took a while. Um but as you can tell, it's not 6 a.m. yet. It's about probably like 4 a.m. You guys been fighting for a while, so you guys don't think it's 6 a.m. yet because you don't hear the chimes of the warnings of 6 a.m.
Okay.
And we have to sleep in a
just
shelter by 6.
Yes.
Yep. Just real quick, I'm gonna say that Kinnaid, you notice Andy give a side glance and it's actually there's a little bit it looks like he's actually admiring the your position among the floating stars and like uh just sort of a little bit of a like, you know what, those are actually very beautiful sort of impression is what you're getting.
Kane notices this, but before you can really comment, he notices kind of the pink fingers of dawn on the horizon and says, "Oh dear. Oh, I've got to be getting into something."
So
Yeah,
now,
Andy notices them too and nods, and he removes the tip of his sword from uh Shmi's uh throat and uh I believe I should have some rope in my inventory. Yeah. He cuts off uh some of the a bit of the hempen rope that he's got in that he pulls from his backpack and ties Shmi's hands behind his back before uh getting him out of the net and pulling
I'll be
him to
right
his
back.
feet.
okay.
Uh
So
Go ahead.
you're tying him up, correct?
Yeah.
So you tie him up. Do you just leave him there?
No. Andy's planning on bringing Shmi with them until they can figure out what to do with him. Like, I mean, Andy honestly would be perfectly fine with like uh sending him on his way with a little smack from the uh flat side of the blade of his blade, but um he gets the feeling that that Rooster would probably object to that, and he figures he doesn't have enough authority um to like decide to let Shmi go on his own. So he's planning on bringing Shmi with them until uh they can figure out what to do.
Okay.
Um,
So I'm gonna have you guys roll. Actually, where are you guys sleeping?
well, see, that's the thing. Kane was looking for a place to sleep. So
Okay.
one of Kane's interesting little abilities is called Fey Passage, which will allow him to shrink down to fit into a space as narrow as 1 inch wide. So for Kane, shelter can literally be anything. It could be even like a bird's nest or a beehive or like a squirrel's den. He's just zipping around the forest looking for anywhere that can provide him with shelter.
Okay.
Yep. And actually, can I do a like either a nature or an
I'm back.
investigation roll? Hello, welcome back. either a nature or an investigation roll to see if I can spot either a place that would work as a shelter out here, or at least a place where we could set up a makeshift shelter.
I would say nature because you guys are outside. So roll me nature.
Okie doke. So that is altogether a 20.
Okay. You find a perfect spot in the space. There's not too much, there's not, you don't sense that there's much wild animals here. Like it's a perfect place to stay at. Yeah, you find this place pretty quickly with your roll.
All right. In that case, Andy is going to point it out and say, we can make camp there for the night. There should be enough wood to create a little lean-to there. And if we can grab some leaves or dried grass to isolate ourselves from the ground, it should be enough to keep warm for the night, provided that we've all got uh a bedroll and uh can get together a little bit of wood for a small fire.
Kane flies over to the area that Andy pointed out, and he like zips in a circle around the clearing. And as he does so, like grass grows, flowers sprout, berries appear, and the leaves become a little greener. And then he nods and says, "Hope that helps for whatever it's worth." And then he glows briefly with a kind of orangish light, and that orange glow kind of seems to almost become incorporeal as it zoop, goes into a little hole in the side of a tree.
Okay.
All right. Andy is impressed and you know drags me over and plops him up against said tree and starts about the business of creating the lean-to.
Awesome. Rooster is going to secure the area as he puts it, and what he does is with his boots, they actually leave animal tracks.
Okay, do me a survival.
Yep, boots of false tracks. And so what I
Let me
want to
get.
do,
They create a rooster track.
yeah. So what I want to do is around the camp make a whole bunch of animal trails leading away in case any hunters are trying to track anything, to kind of make a net around us. So what did you say to roll? Survival?
Roll survival for me, please.
All right. 16.
16. So you're able to do that pretty well. It's not one of your best jobs, but it's not your worst.
Right. So I come back all exhausted and everything, but my cloak of bellowing awesomely, and I'm like, all right, that should divert anyone snooping around.
All right.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Andy?
Not much. I was just gonna say that Andy, gathers a little wood for the fire and making sure to dig a little dirt pit so that it's not in contact with any of the grass. puts the wood in the center and creates a ring of rocks around it and takes out his tinderbox to light the wood.
Okay.
It's not a very big fire, just enough to help keep him warm.
I won't have you roll for that, cause I don't see the point of having you roll for every single thing.
Right.
So, you make the fire, and what do you do next? Do you fall asleep?
No, he's going to turn towards Smee and kind of stare at him for several seconds and then say, what were you and Hook doing out here anyway?
Oh, we were just searching
For
for, and he just keeps like repeating 4, and then he finally stops and says fairies, and he kind of like turns toward Kane, but very creepily turns towards him.
Kine is inside of a tree. Kine cannot see this,
Oh
and
fuck
so
yeah!
this is
I
like
forgot that. Never
whatever.
mind then.
Sleep peacefully.
So he's kind of just creepily staring at you.
Andy narrows his eyes and not wanting to seem intimidated at all by what Smee is doing, actually leans forward
Do me a
towards him.
performance. Do me a performance check.
Okay. Uh, 16.
He can't really tell, so you're doing a good job.
Mm-hmm. And what exactly would you be doing once you found some?
And he laughs. He's like, "You are really stupid or very naive, aren't you? Your little Peter Pan hasn't told you everything, has he?
I
Fairy dust.
already told you I think he's full of shit. It's not a surprise to me that he's keeping secrets.
It's not a secret in the island of what fairy dust can do, darling. And you're not keeping your secret very well either." He stares at you.
Andy actually visibly shivers at that and is instantly glowering angrily at Shmi.
Rooster's gonna come up and just shove a big pile of dirt in Smee's mouth and just be like, "Don't listen to this shithead. We'll take him to Pan. Pan will do what he does, and we'll get the information about what we did or about what he's doing out here. Don't take it too seriously."
Yeah, Andy looks surprised at this reaction, but actually does give Rooster a grateful half smile and says, Yeah, this stuff's above my pay grade anyway.
Exactly. So we just bag them and let Pan deal with them. After all, we should get a huge bonus of something for taking out Hook like we did.
Isn't FYI, guys? You guys don't get paid from Peter Pan.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure you can give
no,
us a trinket or something.
Like he gives you guys stuff, but you guys don't actually get
yeah,
paid.
the above my pay grade comment was just a turn of phrase. I'm very aware that Pan does not does
Offer
not pay
salary
us
or
fair
benefits.
wages.
He offers status and clout.
Okay.
Like Neverland Instagram.
What's the next thing you guys do?
Well,
Well,
Andy's gonna use some more rope to tie Shmi to the tree so that he can't run off in the middle of the night, and then he is going to take out his bedroll and bed down for the night.
yeah, Kine's just sleeping away. He's got curled up next to a squirrel. He's doing good.
Okay. Rooster?
Before I go to bed, I'm gonna it's almost 6 o'clock, right?
It's very close to 6 o'clock.
Alright, I'm gonna use my last spell slot before my rest of invisibility and cast it on Shmi.
You're gonna cast invisibility on yourself?
No, on Shmi.
On
So
Smee,
that way
okay.
he's invisible during that 6 o'clock time frame.
Wait, you do realize that you can't concentrate on a spell while you're asleep, right?
I didn't think it's.
Oh
Never
yeah,
mind. It's
it's
a concentration spell. Never mind. I thought it was a fire
yeah.
and forget. My bad. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to sleep then.
Okay. As you guys go to sleep, Rooster,
Yeah.
as you go to sleep, you feel your body getting heavy as you go into a deep sleep. Now I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
What's Rooster's biggest fear?
I think his biggest fear would be to lose his other hand.
His other hand. Okay. Would Rooster know about the Fairy Queen?
Maybe. I think he would. He knows Sylvan, and he is a bit of a Pan follower.
You see a woman, long black hair, tall and tan skin. She has a very angry look on her face as she says, "Good for nothing, lost boy." And she cuts your other hand with her magic.
Okay.
And as you see, after that happens, you see Peter Pan and you see Tinkerbell all looking very disappointed at you. You don't know what you did. But they look like they don't like you or don't want you around anymore. How would that make Rooster feel?
Rooster would definitely be upset and screaming about his hand and yelling after Han and Tinkerbell, but never catching up to him. He doesn't want to be abandoned again.
As you feel that.
What's that?
As you feel that.
Yeah.
You feel eyes. You feel something. Eyes or something watching you. And laughter. Very evil laughter. And you wake up.
Lovely.
It's the good thing is it's past 6 now, so you don't have to worry about not losing your magic or anything like that.
Right.
But how is Rooster right now?
Rooster's pretty shaken up, and he's trying to push back the feelings, get back to his jovial self.
You feel pain on your what arm is cut off?
His left hand.
So you feel pain on your right hand.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Do you
look
look
at my right. Is my hand still there?
Your hand's still there. But you see an eye on the front, on the, not the palm, the front of your hand. You see like a big eye.
All right.
Not like a realistic eye. It's more like a tattoo, but when you touch it, it's sleek. It's not bumpy.
Well, I'm gonna shake awake Andy and be like, looks like I got a present last night, and I'm gonna show him the mark and relay the dream. And then ask Andy if he had anything weird dreaming.
I mean, did I?
No. If I didn't explain, you guys have different dreams. If I didn't call on you, you didn't have a dream at all.
Okay. And Andy's gonna just shake his head and say, no dreams for me, but whatever yours meant, it can't have been anything good.
Did I cut it off?
Can I? What, you mean cut the mark off your skin?
Oh, that might help too. I was just thinking of lopping off the whole hand again. I can have 2 hooks.
No, you already have enough of a problem with hand-eye coordination as it is. Can I actually do a medicine check on the hand in question?
Yes, you could try.
Okay.
Because this is the hand that touched the shooting star.
Yes, this is the hand that touched the shooting star.
So that is a 21.
It's not medical. It's magical. There's
Alright,
there's no like like cure, like medically you can't like get a potion and
yeah, so I find nothing medically wrong with the hand.
yeah, you don't find anything medically wrong with the hand. It's fine. It's healthy.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say I'm gonna relay that information to Rooster, and then I'm going to stand up and walk over to the tree and I don't know how far up the hole that Kinnaid went into actually is, but Andy's going to like try and stand on tiptoe and call into it.
So,
eh,
standing on tiptoe, you're able to peer through the hole, and you see Kine with his arms crossed and his legs also crossed, and he's kind of like lounging back against a squirrel, and they're both asleep.
Andy's gonna kind of like half whisper so that he doesn't, blow your ears off. Is gonna kind of go, "Hey, fairy boy,
Um,
Kinnaid, was that it, Kinnaid?"
the squirrel's ears twitch, and it looks up and makes kind of a squeaking noise, and that causes Kine to kind of just stir and like shake the sleep from his eyes too, and he stands up and walks over to the hole, and like at this point he's like 1 inch tall. He's like, "It's Kine, actually. Oh, it's morning already. Well, I mean, I guess it was already morning in a way, but later morning."
Yeah, it's past 6 a.m. now. Listen, you're magic and stuff, right? I mean, that's in the nature of being a fairy.
No, no, lad. I fly around and make the plants grow and shoot fire through entirely mundane means.
Uh, Andy snorts and says, "Yeah, okay, I deserve that sarcasm. Listen, Rooster had a nightmare, and now his hand hurts, and there's a weird mark on it, but I can't find anything wrong with it, like, medically. Could you take a look?"
Um, he kind of tilts his head and he's like, "The hand. He's the lad's only got the one hand, right?"
Yeah, it's the one that's not missing that has the weird mark.
I see. The one he grabbed the shooting star with. Aye?
Uh, Andy seems to connect the dots on that as if it hadn't occurred to him yet, and he nods.
I'll need to take a look.
I
And
want to run up to the group that they're talking, and I'm gonna shove my hand in between to show them. I'd be like, "Hey, do you think if this is like some sort of spying mark and they're spying on us, I could like really give them an eyeful when I go to the bathroom? Because it's my only hand."
oi, just get that out of the way so I can leave the tree, please.
Yeah, Andy at this point has stepped back and is just kind of like back to looking at Rooster like, "God damn it, you idiot."
So once Rooster withdraws his hand, that sort of beam of orange light shoots out of the hole and reforms into the regular 1 foot tall, approximately, Kine.
Mm-hmm.
And he hovers there and crosses his arm and looks down at the mark curiously. Um, and should I be making a roll here, like Arcana, maybe?
Sorry, yes. Try and do an Arcana, yes. I spaced out. I was writing stuff and I spaced out. Yes, can I do an Arcana check for me?
I got a 19.
Nice.
So, with a 19, this magic, since you're not closely familiar, well, don't necessarily assert yourself with the other fairies. You don't quite know, but you have an idea it's a mark from the fairy queen.
But I don't know what it might do.
Yeah.
So Kane sort of looks down at the mark closely, and then looks up at Rooster, and like for the first time since you've met him, there's no sign of mirth or anything in his eyes. He looks serious. And he says, "And you've only just now noticed it."
I nod my head and recount the dream that I had, including the black-haired lady laughing at me and everything else.
Right. And now Kine is a house fairy. He's not so much associated with the other
Yeah,
fairies.
that's why I didn't give you too much.
He has been into the fairy realm before, and presumably knows his own queen, at least from a distance. Does that sound like Queen Mab?
What? Please repeat again.
I'm sorry.
Can you please repeat that?
Does Rooster's description sound like Queen Mab? Would Kine be able to identify the woman that he described?
Yes. How he described this woman, you do in fact believe is Queen Mab.
What? One more question.
Yes.
Does Kine think that this is a mark of the queen's favor or of her disfavor?
Roll me a history.
That would be a 12.
So, with a 12, you're not quite sure it could be either or, but you do know that Queen Mab likes, favors, and likes to see people suffer.
Kine, he's silent for a long while. Um, and I'll let you guys roll an insight check on him.
Ooh, okay.
I got a 6. Pretty on par for Rooster.
Wait, are we all rolling or?
You either of you can, yeah.
And what's the roll again?
Insight.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I got a little bit distracted by the landlord's cat sniffing around my my spot. Well, that's a 7.
Yeah, so the Fey is inscrutable. He's got a curious look on his face. You're not sure what's going on in that acorn-sized head. But eventually he shoves his hands in his pockets and says, "Well, I don't know exactly what it means, but the Fairy Queen has taken a special interest in you, lad."
No, Rooster just kind of chuckles and is like, well, a lot of people take interest in me.
Oh, buddy.
Do they?
Oh, buddy.
I mean, as a charity case, perhaps.
He just shrugs it off and is like, whatever, we'll tell Tinkerbell and Pan about it and they'll know what to do.
Andy rolls his eyes at that comment.
I, of course, Andy, could I perhaps speak with you in a slightly more private setting?
Andy will nod and tells Rooster, keep an eye on Shmi for us, and then we'll walk about, maybe 20 paces away from the tree, and is going to take out his hang on, where is it? Pipe of smoke monsters, and put a little pinch of tobacco in it, and start puffing away.
By the way, we don't smoke, kids. If any of you guys are watching this.
Well, if we have children watching this, I think we already have a problem.
Yeah.
But
I have it marked for mature. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, good. Disclaimer: we do not condone children smoking.
That's what I was trying to say.
Or underage drinking, but this is Neverland, so
It's true.
Yep.
So, as you, what kind of monster is the first one that comes out of your pipe?
I'm going to say it's a dragon that itself opens. It's like a little dragon that itself opens up its mouth and shoots out its own plume of smoke.
Kine pulls out his little ash wand, and he does a little twiddle in the air, and that extra puff of smoke from the dragon transforms into a chimera, and he like starts making the chimera and the dragon have a little fight with each other. But as he does this, he leans in and whispers, "I think it's a very bad idea for your friend to go and talk to Tinkerbell."
Andy's eyes move from the fighting smoke monsters over to meet Kine's, and he furrows his eyebrows and says, okay, well, she's not exactly my favorite person in the world, but why would it be such a bad idea for her to find out about this?
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm not entirely sure she doesn't know already. Look, I'm a house fairy. I like you guys. I mean, sure, it's fun sometimes to play a trick on a human, but, you know, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Those thoughts aren't exactly shared by all of fairy kind. And I happen to know they're not shared by Queen Mab, or by the fairies who report directly to her, if you catch my drift.
Andy has a look flash across his face as if he is remembering um, something, and the frown on his lips turns just that his lips turn downward just that little bit more, and he says, yeah, I definitely catch that one. Look, I don't know how to stop Rooster from going back to Pan with this. We've got Shmi, and Pan's gonna wanna look at him, and probably gonna wanna do something pretty fucking nasty to him. I'd be happy to just send him back home with a bit of a smack on the back of the head, but the rest of the Lost Boys, they're a lot more invested in this whole thing.
Right. I'm sure they are. I was trying to keep out of it myself, but, well, it kind of found me. But, look, if... The thing is, I don't know how to stop them either. Some of my kind, they're good with misdirection and charms and such, and that's not really my field. But, well... And he kind of glances back at Rooster and says, if he's dead set on this path, well, I think it might be best if I came with you, if that'd be all right.
Fine with me. I mean, you've been nothing but helpful so far. And, I gotta say I like you too.
Well...
As you guys
Sorry,
were
go ahead.
talking, you hear a bell.
The 6 o'clock bells?
No,
We slept past those.
a different bell. More sweet sounding than the 6 o'clock bells.
Alright,
Is Kane familiar with the sound?
You're very familiar with the sound.
What's
is Andy familiar with it?
Yes.
Is it the sound I heard when I last interacted with the Fey?
It's... Yes.
Okay. Alright, Andy's eyes immediately snap back to where Rooster is, and he motions for Kane to follow as he jogs back over and sort of stands protectively in front of Rooster while looking around at the horizon. And I would like to make a perception check to see if I can tell where exactly this sound is coming from, like what direction.
Okay, make it.
While they were talking, by the way, Rooster untied Shmee and has him tied his hands tied around his back and a noose around his neck as a kind of a dog lead. So he's ready to get him to walk.
I will be right.
Oh boy. Okay. That's an 18 on perception.
18 on perception?
Yep.
It's Tinkerbell and Peter Pan. You rolled really high, so you could see them.
Okay. Yep. Andy does not stop standing protectively in front of Rooster.
Rooster, would you like to make anything?
You want me to make a perception check to see if I notice this?
If you want.
Yeah, because I'm still like getting Shmee ready to go hiking.
Okay.
That's a 1.
Nope, you don't see anything.
I am completely focused
to the whole thing.
I'm oblivious to everything because I'm taking care of Shmee and making sure that his arms are bound tightly and the noose is tight enough so if he tries to run, he'll break his neck.
And Andy, you could see they're coming towards you. Toward where you guys are.
Andy makes no move to pull out weapons or anything, but you can tell that he's tense. and he's still, continuing to he's still continuing to stand in front of Rooster.
As they come closer, Peter Pan waves at you with like the brightest smile.
Kine at this point floats up from behind Andy and gives like a very flourishing midair bow that turns into like a front flip.
And as they touch the ground, Tinkerbell becomes human size. And Peter Pan speaks. He's like, well, I wonder where you guys were. Did Neverland took you for a toll again?
I would probably look up by the time he speaks after I tied up Shmi, and I said, "Nope, we're just getting ready to deliver you guys a present. Actually, I took out Captain Hook. Yeah, apparently, he had some sort of falling star in his chest, which I deftly snatched with these awesome fingers of mine, and he kind of melted into goo." So Shmi here was rambling on about fairies or something, and we thought we'd bring him over to you. So, that's kind of where we are.
Rooster, and the rest of the group. Mostly Rooster.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna question at all that he lied to you guys?
And Andy is busy like with Andy is glaring at Peter pretty intensely. Although they're I'm gonna say roll a perception check.
Okay. Because he did lie to you guys about Captain Hook being dead.
Okay, yeah, no, Andy is glaring at Peter pretty intensely, and there's like redness in his face, and he says, "Peter, we already know that Hook's dead."
Well, of course he was. I told you guys. You must have been hallucinating things.
Well, I mean, from the strictest of standpoints, he certainly looked very dead. Kine just kind of chuckles, and he seems very sort of laissez-faire about all this, but he is watching Tinkerbell.
Can I roll?
Do me an insight check on Tinkerbell.
Okay, I'm pretty good at those. Hot diggity damn, 24.
20. 24? Okay, 24. Albert. 24. You could see through Tinkerbell's kind of mask of a magic, if that makes sense. Her looks that she puts
Glamour?
out, the looks that she puts out in front of everybody is not what she looks like, really looks.
Interesting. Well, Kine will sort of float up a little bit higher and then zip over to the pair of them and say, "Well, I don't think we've been properly introduced. I'm Kine. I'm a fairy of the home and hearth, as it were. And he extends a hand to Peter Pan and says, "I've heard a great deal about you, Mr. Pan. It's a real pleasure."
And he's like, well, is this a new friend of ours? And he looks at Rooster and Andy.
New friend of me and Rooster's.
I see. And Tinkerbell speaks up. Well, I haven't seen you before. I'm glad we have new friends. Is that right, Peter? And Peter smiles and says, That's absolutely right, Tinkerbell. Now,
Kinney does a little twirl in the air and says, "Ah, and Tinkerbell too. I've, of course, not had the pleasure of meeting you before either, but the stories were true. You're as radiant as they say."
thank you. I appreciate that comment. Now, the reason we came here is because I sense something unsettling on you.
Something unsettling, you say? Well, apart from an apparently dead pirate and a fallen star, not seen much out of the ordinary.
A fallen star, you say, and that's when Peter Pan speaks. Well, we haven't seen those in millennia. It's so hard to find one. And either
Well, it
of
didn't
you,
stick
either
around.
of you, make an insight check.
Okay.
Can I make one too?
Yep.
I mean, I assumed that either of you meant the two humans and not me.
Yep.
Well, you
I got an 11.
11. And Rooster, you?
I got a 5.
So, Rooster, you see completely normal Peter Pan. Oh, good old Peter Pan. Andy, you see a little bit more. You see, like, his eyes twitching, and he's a lot more smiley. Creepily so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Andy takes a step forward and says, "Well, it didn't stick around. It disappeared after we took it off hook."
Aw, that's a shame. Well, you win some, you lose some. Now, Tinkerbell, can you check each of them to see where the unsettlement came from? And Tinkerbell comes forward to each of you and inspects you one by one.
The Kinney does a little bow and says, "Why, I'm an open book, of course, my lady." And he does another little twirl, and his clothes completely change from a fairly, practical, if somewhat flamboyant, uh, you know, outdoorsman's outfit to like a slitted dress, almost a red slitted dress.
A dress. I love it.
Andy is once more side eyeing Kinney in admiration of at this time of the outfit and how he looks in it.
Kane, do me a perception check to see if you catch this.
All right. Oof, that would be a 5.
A 5. You do not catch this. But you do feel pretty good, pretty confident in your dress.
Damn right I do.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
When Tinker comes closer to inspect Andy, he stiffens even more and crosses his arms heavily over his chest and just kind of like not necessarily aggressively, but like stares Tink down in a way that's not aggressive but is a little bit defiant.
Okay.
You get the impression that he is not necessarily comfortable being this closely scrutinized.
Okay. So she doesn't see anything on you guys. Lastly, she goes to Rooster. And I'm gonna roll.
Alright.
To see if she sees anything on Rooster.
Can I roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say roll sleight of hand.
Yeah, do that. Do that for me. She rolled pretty high, guys.
Alright, give me 1 second. I got an 11.
Nope, she sees the eye right away. She's like, oh, looky here.
I just vaguely say I woke up with it this morning. It's the hand that I pickpocketed that falling star from, so it's probably just a weird burn mark or something from it, because it burnt my hand really good.
She laughs. Yes, maybe so. But we have to take you back to the hut. Just to make sure. Isn't that right, Peter Pan? And she gives a little smirk. And Peter Pan says, yeah, that's right. We gotta make sure you're okay.
Andy steps over to Rooster and slings an arm around his shoulders and says, yeah, we're all going to the hut. Ain't that right?
Rooster nods and agrees.
Kine puts a hand over his heart and he's like, "Oh, an invitation like that! I couldn't imagine ever denying such a gracious thing. It'd be an honor."
And Peter Pan claps his hands together and he's like, splendid. Come on, Tinkerbell will put some fairy dust on Rooster and on Andy, and of course they can fly, so he doesn't need fairy dust. But on Rooster and Andy, Tinkerbell puts fairy dust, so it could be faster travel to the hut.
Woohoo!
It takes a couple minutes to get, well, yeah, like about like 30, half an hour, 30 minutes to get there. Because you guys were a bit far away from the hut. But when you get there, you see the Lost Boys, dancing around, doing chant calls, like basic Lost Boy stuff. And when they see you guys, they all cheer and like play around with your rooster, like they clap your back, they play around with you. Um,
I'm gonna go join in the merriment.
Andy, I would say you're kind of like the outsider of the Lost Boys. Or do you play around with the Lost Boys as well?
Normally, Andy would probably be among them, if not actually playing, then like laughing and smoking his pipe. However, at this time, he leaves. He leaves. Rooster to the rest of the boys and uh approaches Peter and sort of like you're familiar with the phenomenon of Cabedan, right?
Who are you asking, me or Peter?
You.
I'm not familiar.
Okay, let me get an example for you. Uh Cabedan is like one of these, and I'm gonna put it in the group chat. Basically, Andy like backs Peter into a wall and uh uses an arm to press against it and keep Peter from trying
Oh,
to,
that!
yeah,
He's
keep
gonna do
him
the
from
wall
trying
slam.
to, yeah, basically.
You're doing the anime wall slam. Oh, great!
Yeah, the uses the enemy wall slam and sort of looks I'm gonna say Andy's at least like a little bit taller than Peter. Um and like looks down at him and says, uh so are you actually gonna tell me what's so important about that new mark that Rooster's got, or are you gonna spew more bullshit?
Do mean intimidation.
Okie doke. Let me just get back to the. There we go.
And he's gonna do an insight on you. Because you are pretty close to him.
It's a 16.
Okay. So he got a 16 on the insight. He realized. Oh, I'll tell you soon. He's like, well, Andy, I guess you I guess we all have secrets, huh? And he looks at you straight in the eye. Nothing you should worry about. It's just me being mad and Rooster's business. And he looks at you and he's like, also, you're not keeping your identity hidden very well.
Um,
And
Andy,
he calls you Mother. You're not keeping your identity very well, Mother.
Andy, immediately steps back, and their eyes have gone wide and fearful, and their shoulders are stiff, and it Andy doesn't seem to know what to do, and has a look like their worst nightmare has just come true.
Rooster's gonna jump in and just pull Andy into one of the dances, completely oblivious to just what happened.
Yeah, because Rooster didn't know that Andy's a girl.
He's like, you don't need.
Yeah.
Stop being a fuddy duddy and talking to Pan and get over here and party.
You are able to. I'm gonna say that you're able to bring Andy in on the dances, because like she just is too shocked to have any resistance at the moment.
And because I want to, I say that's Whirlpool and our one shots in a cliffhanger.
Okay, and I mean, if we can definitely do
Man.
this.
Yeah.
Downright devious.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and end the stream, and we can wrap up off camera. And I want to thank everyone for watching.